There's a lot here. One of the things I like to talk about is the number of fish. At that time in the history of the world, they thought there was 153 countries or cultures. And so that number is not by accident. So when they said they went fishing and they brought in 153 fish, they realized that, hey, we're catching the whole world, that the gospel is going to the whole world. And second is something very interesting as well, is the word schizoid. That's the Greek word meaning to tear apart. So the net doesn't tear, which meant that the Catholic Church was not going to fall apart. It wasn't going to divide. Now, a lot of us have intellectual divisions in the Catholic Church. We're all aware of those. But the actual teaching of the church was not going to split. And so, in the beginning, Christ established that we will be together in one faith, meaning what we believe, and one message, which is the message of Jesus Christ. In fact, the message of Jesus was one of the criteria to putting the New Testament together. So it's very important for us to understand that this is a really historical event, not just because Jesus appeared for the third time, but he's really establishing the gospel, the sacraments, the teachings of Jesus are going to the whole world, and we as Catholics will not split. Now, when I've been to Mass, I've been to Mass all over the world, and the Mass is kind of basically the same thing, but the language is different. Before Vatican II, Latin was the language. You can go anywhere in the world, and the Mass was exactly the same with the same language. I even knew a priest. When he came to America, he escaped from communism in Hungary. He couldn't speak English, but he knew everybody there. This was before Vatican II, spoke Latin, so he told the whole story in Latin, which I thought was clever. It's like, yeah, well, let's just speak Latin to each other, which is obviously it's a dead language, but I just thought it was a fascinating story. But for us as Catholics, we have to realize that we have to be unified in our faith and what we believe. That's like a non-negotiable. Everything else, we're up to opinions. You can have as many opinions as you want. But when it comes to the teachings of Christ, you can't have an opinion about Jesus' teaching. He's God. His law is eternal. Whatever he says goes. He's much smarter than us. And so people have asked me, so Father, do you believe this or believe that? Well, what's your opinion about the church's teaching? I go, look, Jesus doesn't ask my opinion. I'm too low in the food chain. He just says, hey, this is what I teach. Go teach. So I teach. Opinions are great. Like some people have the opinion that pineapple should be on pizza. Those people have to go to purgatory for a long time. I'm an Italian. That's a mortal sin for us. We can't do it. But that's your opinion. I like sausage and pepperoni and mushrooms. And that's a good pizza. But you probably don't like that. That's an opinion. But when Jesus says, I'm God, this is a sin, this is how I want you to act, this is what you're supposed to believe, I have no opinion about that. Yes, Lord, whatever you say, because you clearly know more than I do. So I'm not split when it comes to the teachings of the church. I know what he wants. I know what the message is. And my goal is to go to the whole world to the best of my ability. And I think at this moment in the gospel, we, baptized, are given that mission to go to the world, family, friends, and whoever, fallen away or non-believer, and to bring them to Jesus Christ. We Catholics are what we say in the theological world, terrible at promoting us. We're almost at the level of terrible. When I go up to somebody, I say, I want to baptize you, I want to bring you into the church, they cry. They go, oh, Father invited me. Why don't you go up to somebody, say, hey, ever thought about becoming Catholic? When you do become Catholic, I want to be your sponsor. Why can't you do that? Or, hey, once you come back, I'll buy you breakfast after Mass. And do it 20 times, invite them. Eventually they're going to say yes, because that's human nature. We have to be more engaging as Catholics to others who are not. And that's what this whole gospel is, that we are taking the gospel message and reaching out to the whole world and catching everybody and bringing them to the salvation that they deserve. We don't deserve salvation, but by God's gift, he gave it to us. I didn't earn it. What did I do? I was just born. So because of his benevolence and his love for me, he makes salvation possible for me and for you. Why wouldn't I want that for somebody else? Even my enemy, the person I don't like. I got a list pretty long. And I'm going to be really surprised when I get to heaven and see the people I couldn't stand in heaven with me. I'm like, man, on earth we couldn't get along. But now we're good friends up here in heaven. That's the miracle. But ultimately, my life, your life, should be one of evangelization, reaching out, bringing souls, being metaphorically throwing out our net and bringing as many souls to Jesus as we can. Because that's what we're called to do. We were mandated that at our baptism, and we should do that today. Amen.